LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards are easily the most feared duo in the NBA right now. But to understand why, we gotta jump straight into the video. Ant and LaMelo are becoming exactly what the NBA feared. Let's get right into it.
Anthony Edwards just averaged 28.8 points per game, but his coach Chris Finch said the team did him a disservice, forcing him to play point guard when he's best off the ball. Ant shot 49.6% off catch and shoot threes last season, but was only able to take 2.3 a game. So after Minnesota went home in the second round, they are now betting it all on LaMelo Ball, an all-star level talent who was in the 99th percentile in creating shots for his teammates last season. LaMelo is one of the best playmakers in the NBA. With him on the court, not only did the Hornets shoot 3.3% better from three, but Knipple himself shot 10.3% better from deep with LaMelo playing compared to when he was sitting. Incredible for Anthony Edwards only, LaMelo Ball missed 141 games between 2023 and 2025. He's been called unserious because of off-court drama such as crashing his car. He is also a bad defender who has never played in a single NBA playoff game. But what if I told you the Timberwolves know something about LaMelo that we don't? Something that could unlock Anthony Edwards' highest potential and bring the Wolves to their first NBA Finals in franchise history. So
if y'all are all going on to enjoy the video, make sure y'all hit that like button and subscribe and help us to hit 1,000 subscribers before we hit the winter break. Thank you.
I need you to listen to this. Since the merger, only 9 players have averaged 28 points per game from the ages of 23 to 24. Anthony Edwards is not only on this list of historic names, he's also the 3rd youngest player in league history to score 10,000 points and the youngest to make 1,000 threes. But Ant has never been named first team All-NBA. He's never finished top 5 in the MVP voting. He still has room left to grow. Meanwhile, his new teammate LaMelo Ball is one of just 10 20-year-olds to ever be named an All-Star, with every name on this list other than Zion Williamson being a surefire Hall of Famer. It looked like LaMelo was on the cusp of all-time greatness after his second season, but then injuries and one of the worst rosters in basketball set his career in the wrong direction. Except for Ant and LaMelo, there is still time. In the 2027 season, they will both be just 25 years old. And we are seeing this summer, they are locked in. It was just reported that both Ant and LaMelo covered flight expenses for the entire Timberwolves team to go to Paris to participate in off-season workouts together. This is a duo and a franchise that is serious about getting past the Western Conference Finals, even in a stacked West that features Shea's Thunder and Wemby's Spurs. Ant also said this summer that LaMelo has stayed at his house for a few days. They're putting in the time to build the chemistry, but a lot of people still look at LaMelo and wonder, is he the right move for the Timberwolves roster? As the question of why the Hornets would cut ties with LaMelo as he's entering his prime is a big one. The thought around the league is that Charlotte didn't believe Melo could be the best player on a contending roster, that he wasn't mature enough, that he wasn't enough of a leader, and that after playing 72 games in 2026, they were trading LaMelo while he still had some trade value. Only Minnesota looked at this deal and thought, when else can you get a potential all-star type talent for this cheap? Yes, the Wolves will miss Naz Reid, who they let go of in this deal. Except in Minnesota, now LaMelo won't have to be the leader of a franchise. He has Anthony Edwards and Rudy Gobert for that. He also, perhaps most importantly, perfectly fits into the formula the Timberwolves already have in place for reaching the Western Conference Finals. In 2024 and 2025, Minnesota made both of their deep playoff runs with a 36 and then 37-year-old Mike Conley starting at point guard. The fear is that LaMelo is not able to play enough defense. Conley was also a negative on the defensive end, but when the Timberwolves traded for him, Chris Finch said the reason why was that the Wolves needed a connector on offense to bring everything together. Now with LaMelo, Finch has said the same thing, describing how in the 2026 playoffs, Ant who was also injured, had to face double team after double team, and now LaMelo will give the roster, wait for it, a connective tissue. Even better, Mike Conley averaged just 8.2 points and 4.5 assists per game in the 2025 season, and the Wolves were still able to make it work with him averaging those low numbers. In 2025, LaMelo averaged 25.2 points and 7.4 assists per game, and then last season, in just 28 minutes a game, he averaged over 20 points and 7 assists. So on offense, this will be a major upgrade, as Finch also pointed out that Rudy Gobert now will be unlocked as a much greater lob threat due to LaMelo's passing. But with all of this said, there are still some overall team concerns we need to talk about. Being as realistic as possible, the Wolves made both of their Western Conference Finals runs, starting first Karl Anthony Towns, then Julius Randle next to Gobert. Randle was just awful against the Spurs in the second round of the 2026 playoffs. He averaged just 12.8 points a game, shot just 34.2%, and was 1 for 8 from the field in a Game 6 blowout. The Wolves are betting that losing his ball-stopping nature is actually addition by subtraction. We do have to point out, though, in the second round of the 2025 playoffs, Randle was huge in taking down the Warriors. He averaged over 25 points per game. He shot over 53% from the field. Minnesota is going to need someone to step up and take the production that both Randle and Naz Reid are leaving behind. Ayo Dosunmu just gave the Wolves almost 15 points per game in the regular season and then over 15 points per game in the playoffs. He shot over 42% from 3 in both. He's shown to be a good on-ball defender, and in the playoffs, when both Dante DiVincenzo and Anthony Edwards went down with injuries against the Nuggets, in Game 4, Ayo calmly stepped in and scored 43 points off the bench to lead the Wolves to a win. Dante DiVincenzo himself is going to be a question mark going forward. He ruptured his Achilles. That is an injury that not everyone comes back fully healthy from. So the addition of Ayo is incredibly important here. Minnesota fully believes in him. They just signed him to a 5-year, $112 million contract extension. And after being stuck on the Bulls for years, Ayo in his first playoffs proved he is a high-level starter who will provide great energy and is a great teammate next to LaMelo and Ant. Only, speaking of defense, the biggest question mark the Timberwolves have is, are they going to be able to stop anyone? And that is where we have to bring up Rudy Gobert and Jaden McDaniels. Minnesota's entire defensive scheme relies on Rudy Gobert being a high-level rim protector. The good news is, according to Crafted NBA, he is in the 91st percentile in rim defense, the 90th percentile in block percentage, and the 100th percentile in their own defensive box score plus-minus formula. He is also a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year. He just played a lockdown defense on Nikola Jokic in the first round of last year's playoffs, holding Jokic to under 45% shooting from the field, and against Wemby in round 2. While Victor was effective, Rudy also held him to under 20 points per game. All of that is the good news here. The bad news is that Rudy himself shot under 50% from the field in the playoffs on a low number of shot attempts. He averaged just 7.2 points per game. He is also 34 years old, which would be a giant concern, except Rudy Gobert is known for being one of the healthiest players in the NBA. He treats his body like a temple. He has an incredible diet and routine and has actually been praised by Minnesota's coaching staff as being a great influence on their young players. I think at least for the next 2 seasons, Rudy will still be able to anchor this defense. I also believe that he will get more easy baskets due to LaMelo's passing. But at the end of the day, it is Jaden McDaniels who is going to be the X factor for how far the Timberwolves ultimately end up going. Now, Anthony Edwards thinks very highly of Jaden. Going back to the 2023 season, when asked about the Suns, Ant responded,
So, you know, they got KD, but we got Jaden McDaniels.
Jaden has improved each and every season and almost averaged 15 points per game last year. He also was second-team all-defense in the 2024 season, and Jaden brings up one of the most interesting subplots the Minnesota Timberwolves have. They may choose to go small around Rudy Gobert. They may choose to start LaMelo, Ant, Ayo, Jaden, and Rudy. Now, Jaden played most of his minutes at the small forward position last season. He can play power forward. He did play most of his minutes minutes as a rookie at power forward, except Minnesota has not been using him in that role as much lately. That is because they had both Julius Randle and Naz Reid on their roster. With both of them now gone, Jaden is going to have to be able to defend the 4 at a high level, and when we dig deep into the stats, we find something amazing. According to Crafted NBA, Jaden McDaniels ranked in the top 94th percentile in the entire league in rim defense, as opponents shot over 10% at the rim versus Jaden compared to a normal defender. As we just heard, that is better than Rudy Gobert. Jaden also ranked in the 93rd percentile in versatility, which means he gives Minnesota the perfect man to play different lineups with if someone like Johan Beranger, who just had a great summer league showing, steps up and earns more minutes. Minnesota has also still continued to be in trade rumors. They've been linked to Jonathan Kuminga, they've been linked to PJ Washington, which I think would be a perfect fit to this roster. So the fact that Jaden can play either the 3 or the 4 at a very high level is extremely important for this roster going forward. It just gives them options. And Jaden also proved himself in the playoffs with the lights at their brightest against the Nuggets. When Jaden was asked what the offensive scouting report would be, he simply said,
"Go out for Jokic, Jamal, all the bad defenders, Tim Hardaway, Cam Johnson, Aaron Gordon, the whole team. Like, just go at them."
They're all bad defenders.
Yeah, they're all bad defenders.
This made huge news at the time. Jaden claimed that all of the Nuggets were bad defenders, and then he went out and he backed up his words, responding with a 32-point, 10-rebound performance in a series-deciding Game 6. Jaden will be just 26 years old next season. He is also coming into his prime right along with Melo and Ant. Yes, there will be some growing pains. Anthony Edwards even said that. Ant said, "It's definitely going to be ups and downs. First year together, maybe a lot of downs. We'll celebrate both of them." Minnesota doesn't need to win a championship right away with this roster. They can still build around this core. And honestly, if we were to pick any hybrid forward to play along 2 offensive stars in Melo and Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels would be near the top of anyone's list. He is a perfect fit. But while Jaden is the X factor here, it is Anthony Edwards who is going to need to reach an even higher level if the Wolves are really going to be title contenders. And it's in this moment where I want us to take a look back in time and remember just how much Anthony Edwards has improved as a 3-point shooter throughout his career. In the 2024 season, Ant was still second-team All-NBA, but shot just 35.7% from 3 on 6.7 attempts a night, which was good, except the next season, he took more threes, 10.3 a night, and shot even better, 39.5% from deep. A remarkable improvement, and the difference was that Ant had just played in the 2024 Olympics for Team USA. Playing for that roster, he learned some very valuable lessons from none other than Steph Curry.
What did you learn from being around those guys every day in practice?
And I think the best thing that I learned was from Steph. Like, I took Brun like pregame routine, but Steph just playing without the ball. So like the last few days we've been playing 5-on-5, I just be cutting, getting out the way, and I get easy shots. So I think I learned the most from Steph.
Not every NBA superstar is willing to play off the ball and be active and find open spots. Ant showed us on Team USA he is the kind of star who is willing to do that. And the fact that he made almost 50% of his catch and shoot threes shows us just how deadly he can be with the right guy passing him the ball. Fortunately, LaMelo Ball just ranked in the 96th percentile in the NBA in passer rating, a stat that gives us the quality of passes LaMelo was making for his teammates. Ant knows just how important LaMelo is for his future. There is a reason LaMelo is staying at his house. There is a reason the two have suddenly become best friends. And the Hornets know what they are losing. They are making a gamble giving up on LaMelo. Last season, Charlotte went 41-31 in the 72 games LaMelo Ball played in. They went 3-7 without him. The Hornets also scored 123.2 points per possession with LaMelo on the court, a number so high that they would have led the entire NBA in points per possession if LaMelo was always playing. Without LaMelo on the court, they only scored 110.6 points per possession, over 12 less points without him. So the real gamble here is, of course, course going to be LaMelo Ball's health. We watched Steph Curry miss a huge portion of his career at the beginning, and then he figured out his ankle problems. He became one of the best players to ever play. LaMelo doesn't need to be Steph for the Timberwolves to win a championship. All he needs to do is stay on the court, because if he does, the Wolves are going to have one of the best offenses in the NBA with the type of roster and defensive stoppers like Jaden McDaniels and Rudy Gobert to potentially make their first ever run to the NBA Finals. Yes, it will be tough. Shea and the Thunder are looming, Wemby and the Spurs are looming, the Rockets are reloading, and yes, trading for LaMelo Ball was a risky trade. Sure, but this is the type of risk that can pay off. The type of risk that could have you end the season holding up the Larry O'Brien trophy in your hands. So there we have it. Thank you for watching. If you're new to the channel,
bro, chat, if y'all enjoyed that video, make sure to hit the like button, subscribe, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one.